Adotala. Genesis chapter 47. I'm going to title this earlier, our discussion with Larry is, how old are you? So I'm going to title this. I don't know how I'm going to make it fit, but we'll give it a try. Then Joseph went and told Pharaoh and said, my father and my brothers, their flocks and their herds and all that they possess have come from the land of Canaan, and indeed they are in the land of Goshen. And he took 5 men from among his brothers and presented them to Pharaoh. I don't know which 5 of them that came to Pharaoh, but I'm pretty sure Judah is one of them, because Judah is coming to the forefront. Reuben, he's not even mentioned anymore in a positive light. In the next chapter, he's going to be, his father is giving the blessings. That will be next Sunday. He says, you are unstable as water. Then Pharaoh said to his brothers, what is your occupation? As I've said last week, I understand that the Egyptian society, there were 7 different layers of castes. There's 7 different caste systems. A caste system, in our culture, we don't understand it, but it's sort of like a clan system. In our clan system, it's this way. Caste system is this way. So how do I understand it? It's an identity where you are born into that you cannot get out of. I understand in India today, maybe less so today than yesterday. There's the upper caste. Those are the people that are in the prime minister. They run the government, and then there's others. And the lowest caste is, and you cannot go back and forth between these two. So the Egyptians are the same way. And at the bottom of the caste system in the Egyptian society was the shepherds, the sheep herders. And I think I better not say anything about sheep herders, because I'll leave it alone. Your servants are shepherds, both we and also our fathers. So when the nation of Israel, when the tribe or the clans of Israel went into Egypt, they went in as the lowest caste system. And they said to Pharaoh, we have come to dwell in the land because your servants have no pasture for their flocks, for the famine is severe in the land of Canaan. Now, therefore, let your servants dwell in the land of Goshen. I understand Goshen is east of the Nile Delta, and it's sort of like, it's still Egypt, but it's not really. It's greater Egypt, not proper Egypt. So anyway, we'll leave it at that. They're still in Egypt, but they're kind of out to the side. Then Pharaoh said to Joseph, saying, your father and your brothers have come to you. The land of Egypt is before you. Have your father and brothers dwell in the best of the land. Let them dwell in the land of Goshen, and if you know any competent men among them, then make them chief herdsmen over my livestock. As I've said before, the Pharaoh here possibly is from the Hyksos people. They were invaders of Egypt from the north and east. And the Hyksos, I understand, are closely related to the Hebrew people. And they're not genetic Egyptians. So they're outsiders. And this Pharaoh seems to be putting Israel as a buffer zone, as a if an invading army coming from the northeast would have to go through the Israelites first before they invade Egypt, that kind of thing. So he's more than happy to put them there. Then Joseph brought in his father Jacob and set him before Pharaoh, and Jacob blessed Pharaoh. I really don't know this. Let me see if I can still paint a picture. Let me see, the movie 10,000 BC, that movie kind of reminds me of that. The Pharaoh, at this point, he is considered semi-deity. He is associated with the sun, and he is worshipped. Let's say the culture of the Catholic Church, whoever's the Pope right now, let's say in the Vatican or St. Peter's Square, they stand outside from the building at a elevated position, and from there they can bless people. And Pharaoh can do that. And the greater blesses the lesser. That's what's going to happen here. So Jacob blesses the Pharaoh. And in the Egyptian culture, that is counterculture. We're going to make a point back a couple chapters ago in Genesis where Melchizedek blesses Abraham. The blessings go from the greater to the lesser. So I don't know about this Pharaoh, but apparently he allows that he allows himself to be blessed, and he is going to be blessed. Now all that Abraham, the blessings of the Abrahamic covenant is going to just overflow on him, on this Pharaoh. As I was saying earlier, during the time of this Pharaoh, I don't know which Pharaoh it is, but the Pharaoh, the office, was weak. How he influenced people to follow him, I don't know, but the office of the Pharaoh is going to, the power of it is going to increase so much under Joseph's administration. If we decide to go to Exodus, it's going to set the stage for that. Alrighty, moving on. Verse 8, Pharaoh said to Jacob, this is a really pressing question, right? I don't know how else to put it. Pharaoh and Jacob, they meet, and the Pharaoh is just so taken by Jacob. He says, how old are you, man? So I don't know how this is going to be the title of this program right here. How I'm going to make that fit, I have no idea. If it fits, good. If it doesn't fit, anyway. How old are you? And Jacob said to Pharaoh, the days of the years of my pilgrimage are 130 years. Few and evil have been the days of the years of my life, and they have not attained to the days of the years of the life of my fathers in the days of their pilgrimage. Abraham, if you study his life, he didn't own much real estate. He just moved about. He followed the Fertile Crescent, and then he went down to Canaan, and he bought a piece of land where there was just a burial site. But anyway, and then he moved down to Egypt for a time. He got in some trouble there and he moved back. So it's mostly peaceful. And the life of Isaac, Abraham lives up to 175. Isaac lives up to 180. And Isaac pretty much is, his life is, he didn't go to Egypt. He did not go to anywhere. He stayed right where God wanted him to stay, the promised land kind of thing. But he didn't own much land. As this is the land of Israel kind of land. But Jacob, he leaves his hometown, he leaves his mother and father, and he goes up to north and east to Padan Aram, Syria, modern day Iraq, I believe. And he brings back Rachel and Leah and everybody. And then there's a period of turmoil where his kids, they got into all kinds of trouble. And he got in some battles and he won some land and he paid for some land. So his holding is still limited. Whatever God promised, they don't have a whole of everything. And then he, of course, he ends up in Egypt. So he saw more horizons than most his grandfather and his father. Then Jacob blessed Pharaoh and went out from before Pharaoh. And Joseph situated his father and his brothers and gave them a possession in the land of Egypt, in the best of the land, in the land of Ramesses. I understand Ramesses lived at a later time, so that name I'm going to say is superimposed back to this one. So the land of Goshen. I'm not very much familiar with that part of history, so I'll just leave it at that. As Pharaoh had commanded, verse 12, and Joseph provided his fathers, his brothers, and all his father's household with bread according to the number of their families. Now there was no bread in all the land, for the famine was very severe, so that the land of Egypt and the land of Canaan languished because of it. Let me see. This way is north. North of Egypt is the Ethiopian highlands. Apparently, we're ready to go into monsoon season. So monsoon season, from there, all that water, it comes down to Egypt, and the Nile floods its banks, and that's how irrigation is done. And the primary crop that Egypt grew was wheat. And so wheat, I really don't know how bluebird flour is made from wheat in Colorado. And you make fibrate, right? It's gotta be bluebird. It can't be gold metal thing or any other thing, because it has to be bluebird. So apparently Egypt was known for a certain kind of wheat. And Friday I was at home and I read through the whole book of Acts. That was and the Apostle Paul gets on a ship that was coming from Alexandria, and they got in trouble, and so they had to get rid of some of the cargo that was wheat. So, and the wheat was always bound for Rome. Now, back to Genesis. There was no bread in all the land, for the famine was very severe, so that the land of Egypt and the land of Canaan languished because of the famine. I don't know much about famine. I live in a country where we have plenty. You can go to the store and there's this kind of cheese, this kind of cheese, this kind of cheese. And you got cheese with holes, cheese without holes, and you got bread. You got a whole aisle just bread, different kinds of bread. So, that's all I know. I live in a land of plenty, and this thing can show it. So, and verse 14, and Joseph gathered up all the money that was found in the land of Egypt and in the land of Canaan for the grain with which they bought. And Joseph brought the money into Pharaoh's house. Jerry probably knows more about this than I do. When it comes to money, I am very, I don't know much about money. It's called a medium of exchange. Different countries have different kinds of money. In Navajo, before contact, there was a medium of exchange among Navajos. It is the deer skin. A deer skin of a deer that wasn't killed by an arrow. Apparently, Navajos, they did what's called persistence hunting, and they let that deer run till exhaustion, and then you put it over the deer, their nose and the mouth, and you suffocate it and they gut the deer through the mouth, so that the deer, there's no arrow mark on it, and that was money. There's a Navajo song in that. I tried looking for it. Jesus is our that. Oh, I'm going off way this way. I intend to do that. So when the money failed in the land of Egypt and in the land of Canaan, and all the Egyptians came to Joseph and said, "Give us bread, for why should we die in your presence? For the money has failed." When money fails, I have no idea. I understand about 100 years ago, something happened. We, as the United States, we left the gold standard, right, Jerry? I don't know how that changed money.
Negotiable instruments.
What's that?
It makes it negotiable instruments.
I'm pretty sure, yeah. In verse 16, so money, I understand in Germany some time ago, World War II, money failed, and you could grab a whole wheelbarrow full of money and you can buy bread with that. How? I have no idea. Then Joseph said, "Give me your livestock. Give your livestock, and I will give you bread for your livestock if the money is gone." And whatever livestock that they had, it wasn't probably much because they're skinny too. So they brought their livestock to Joseph, and Joseph gave them bread in exchange for their horses, the flocks, the cattle of the herds, and for the donkeys. Thus he fed them with bread in exchange for all their livestock that year. The famine is coming to an end, and people are barely making it. When that year had ended, they came to him the next year and said to him, "We will not hide from the Lord that our money is gone. My Lord also has our herds of livestock. There is nothing left in the sight of my Lord but our bodies and our lands." As I was saying, the Pharaoh during this period of time, he was, it's called an intermediate period. And Egypt had those where they had strong government and weak government. So this is one of those low where the Pharaoh did not have much power. Why should we die before your eyes, both we and our land? Buy us and our land for bread, and we and our land will be servants of Pharaoh. The land probably wasn't much, and because it hasn't flooded in years, there's no water, and the people, they probably weren't much themselves. I can remember people from the Holocaust, those pictures, how skinny they are, emaciated. Maybe not that bad, maybe it is. I don't know how they were. But that's the picture that comes to my mind. Then Joseph bought all the land. One thing about the Pharaoh, or different types of government, a king owns all the land. But in the way that we live they call it the constitutional representative republic. That's what we are under. We're not under a kingship, where the landowners, the individual people can become landowners, and not so much here on the Navajo Nation. We're not landowners. It's called Navajo land, but do I own a piece of it? No, I don't. Okay, but here in the United States of America, we still live under a sort of monarchy. The United States Constitution is the highest law of the land. It's like our monarch. All the other offices, president, Congress, is under there. So that's why we say there's nobody above the law. So it takes me a while to figure out what's going on here. So the king is owning the land. He is winning at Monopoly because he's got a very astute businessman working for him. So the land became Pharaoh's. And as for the people whom he moved them into the cities, from one end of the borders of Egypt to the other end. Understand that Egypt was a narrow strip of land that hugged the Nile. It's not like what we have today. It's a big, like, square kind of thing. Verse 22, only the land of the priests he did not buy, for the priests had rations allotted to them by Pharaoh, and they ate their rations which Pharaoh gave them. Therefore they did not sell their lands. Then Joseph said to the people, indeed, I have bought you and your land this day for Pharaoh. Look, here is seed for you, and you shall sow the land. When Joseph is saying this, he is telling the people to get to work. He is employing his slaves. This is not the chattel slavery. There's another term that comes falls under the term of slavery, which is the people are tied to the land. They're not tied to the owners. So when one owner leaves or sells that piece of land, the slaves, they stay with that land. And it shall come to pass in the harvest that you shall give 1/5 to Pharaoh, 4/5 shall be your own as seed for the field and for your food, for those of your household, and as food for your little ones. Verse 25, so they said, you have saved our lives. Let us find favor in the sight of my Lord, and we will be Pharaoh's servants. So, the blessing that Jacob said on the Pharaoh is becoming, it's coming to fruition. And Joseph made it a law over the land of Egypt to this day that Pharaoh should have 1/5 except for the land of the priests only, which did not become Pharaoh's. So Israel dwelt in the land of Egypt in the country of Goshen, and they had possessions there and grew and multiplied exceedingly. Every time there is a great salvation, God tells his people, be fruitful and multiply. Like after the flood, like during the original creation. And here that something like that is going on. They grew and multiplied exceedingly. And Jacob lived in the land of Egypt 17 years. And the length of Jacob's life was 147 years. When the time drew near that Israel must die, he called his son Joseph and said to him, now if I had found favor in your sight, please put your hand under my thigh and deal kindly and truly with me. Please do not bury me in Egypt. Abraham, a couple 100 years earlier, he had told his servant to put his hand under his thighs, the private parts. I really don't understand that culturally, that's how people swore to each other. So the same thing is going on right here. But let me lie with my fathers. You shall carry me out of Egypt and bury me in their burial place. And he said, I will do as you have said. Then he said, swear to me. And he swore to him. So Israel bowed himself on the head of the bed. Next time we come back together, we'll go to the blessings, the patriarchal blessings that Jacob did with all his kids and his grandkids. Any comments? Any questions? Thoughts? So I don't know what to say. Well, here's what it says. How old are you? Pharaoh is like, he can't get this gal. The first question he asks is, how old are you? What's the